Disappointment. A word we often say with a sigh, a clenched jaw, a heavy heart. The phone call that never came. The promotion that went to someone else. The person who promised forever but meant for now. The dream that withered despite all your care. We live in a culture that treats disappointment like a disease, something to cure quickly, medicate away, or simply get over. But what if disappointment isn't the end of a dream, but the beginning of a deeper truth? What if it's not a failure of life, but an invitation from the soul? Disappointment, always a shock to the feelings, is not only the mother of bitterness, but the strongest incentive to a differentiation of feeling. Today we journey into the psychology of disappointment, not to avoid it, but to alchemize it, to transform lead into gold, pain into wisdom, fracture into wholeness. This is the path Jung walked, the path he mapped in blood and ink in his Red Book during his own confrontation with disappointment, when his world, his identity, his understanding of himself completely shattered, and from that shattering came one of the most profound psychological insights of our time. Disappointment is not just an emotion, it's a psychological event, a rupture in the fabric of our constructed reality, a psychic earthquake that reveals the fault lines in our inner architecture. Picture this. You've been building a life, a relationship, a career on certain assumptions, unconscious beliefs about how the world works, how people behave, how your story should unfold. Then something happens. A plan fails, a person changes, a hope collapses, and suddenly, you're not just sad, you're disoriented. The ground beneath your psychological feet has shifted. The pain isn't just about what you lost, it's about what you're forced to see. The first shock, recognition. That investment you made wasn't just in the external outcome, it was in an internal fantasy, a projection, an unconscious arrangement you made with reality. If I work hard enough, I'll be rewarded. If I love fully enough, I'll be loved back. If I'm good enough, bad things won't happen to me. These aren't just hopes, they're psychological contracts we write in invisible ink, assuming the universe signed them too. Disappointment is the moment we realize we were the only signatory. The second shock, vulnerability. The protective shell of our ego, the part of us that maintains the illusion of control, cracks open. We're exposed, raw, forced to feel the full weight of our humanity. This is terrifying, and this is sacred, because in that crack something profound can enter, or something profound can emerge. The immediate reactions? Let's be brutally honest. Rage. How dare life do this to me? Withdrawal. I'll never risk this again. Denial. This isn't really happening. Blame. It's their fault, not mine. Bargaining. If I just try harder, or worse, the slow, numbing creep of bitterness, the toxic conclusion that hope itself is naive, that trust is foolish, that dreams are dangerous, but Jung invites us to stop, to breathe, and to listen. Because disappointment is trying to tell us something that our ego was too defended to hear. The strongest incentive to a differentiation of feeling. When we're disappointed, it's not just the world that failed us, it's our inner maps, our expectations, projections, unconscious arrangements with reality that are exposed as insufficient. The shock reveals where we've been psychologically asleep, where we've been living in fantasy rather than reality, where we've been unconscious rather than aware. Disappointment is life's way of saying, wake up, see clearer now. There's something here you need to understand. The failure of a pet plan, the disappointing behavior of someone one loves, can supply the impulse either for a brutal outburst or for a modification and adjustment of feeling. Here we stand at the most crucial moment in any psychological journey, the crossroads. Every disappointment becomes a choice point, a moment where we decide not just what to do, but who to become. Path 1, the reactive path, the brutal outburst, the emotional explosion, the immediate discharge of pain through blame, rage, or withdrawal. This path is immediate, it's honest, it's completely human. You rail against the person who disappointed you, you curse the circumstances, you build walls to protect yourself from ever feeling this way again. There's nothing wrong with this response. It's protective, it's natural, it's often necessary in the moment. But if we stop here, we miss the deeper gift. Path 2, the transformative path, the the modification and adjustment of feeling, the conscious choice to turn toward the pain rather than away from it, to ask not just, what happened to me, but what is this trying to teach me? This path is slower, it's more difficult. It requires something most people aren't willing to give: psychological courage. The courage to sit with discomfort without immediately seeking to escape it. The courage to examine our own role in our disappointment without drowning in shame. The courage to see our projections without becoming cynical about projection itself. But here's what Jung understood that most people miss. Both paths are part of the human experience. Both are necessary. We need the initial reaction. It protects us, it honors our pain, it maintains our boundaries. But we also need the deeper reflection. It grows us, it integrates the experience, it prevents us from unconsciously repeating the same patterns. The art is in learning when to react and when to reflect, when to protect and when to examine, when to feel and when to think. The questions of transformation. When we choose the path of conscious reflection, certain questions arise naturally. Why did this hurt me so deeply? What was I clinging to that I didn't even know I was clinging to? What unconscious image did I project onto this person or situation? What part of my past is being activated by this present disappointment? What would it mean to love, work, hope without these unconscious attachments? These aren't just intellectual exercises, they are psychological rituals, sacred practices of self-examination. They are the first steps of what Jung calls individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming a whole, integrated, conscious human being. And that journey, Jung tells us, always begins with something breaking. The final phase, revelation and responsibility. Once the storm of disappointment settles, once we've felt the grief and asked the hard questions, a new kind of clarity emerges. We begin to see not just what broke, but what was false, what was borrowed, what was never truly ours to begin with. This is the gold hidden inside the lead. Not just relief, not just peace, but power. The power that comes from seeing clearly. The power of self-ownership. We realize that our worth is not determined by outcomes. That others are not here to complete our story, but to challenge it. That love must be rooted in reality, not in fantasy. That growth often masquerades as loss. That disappointment is not the death of hope, but the evolution of hope. From this place, we can begin to create a new kind of relationship with life, one that is not based on unconscious contracts, but conscious commitments. A commitment to truth, even when it hurts. A commitment to wholeness, even when it's inconvenient. A commitment to inner alignment, even when outer success tempts us to betray ourselves. This is the final alchemy. To no longer be ruled by disappointment, but to be remade by it. Not bitter, not broken, but clear, conscious, whole. This is how the soul grows teeth, and how we begin, finally, to walk the path not of expectation, but of transformation.